Shalom, I'm Rabbi Jonathan Ginsburg of the Ezra Habbanim Niles Township Jewish Congregation in Skokie. This video is to help explain the Shema. The 6 words of the Shema are the most important words in Judaism. It's the basic line of our prayer. It's from the book of Deuteronomy, and it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God," or Adonai our God, Adonai is one. And in Hebrew it's Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Now in the prayer services we recite it twice a day because it says in the first paragraph you should recite it when you lie down and when you rise up. And we recite it in the morning and in the evening, not in the afternoon service. Many times Jews will say the first sentence with their eyes covered like this to increase their spiritual intentionality. The normal tune is Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And there's a mystic practice that my wife likes where you sing each word to a full breath to increase your concentration. Like this. Shema Yisrael, Adonai, and so on. The sentence after the Shema in the service is Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. That's not in the Torah. It was added by the rabbis, and therefore it's said silently, except on Yom Kippur, when it was said out loud by the high priest. Then there are 3 paragraphs, all from the Torah. The first actually contains many commandments. It says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might." And those are 3 different ways to love God. In fact, there's a famous story, very sad, about a great sage 2,000 years ago being flayed to death by the Romans in a horrible persecution. And he was smiling, and his students asked him why he was smiling. He said, "I've been able to fulfill all the commandments in my life except how to love God with all my might, and now I know." And then in that same paragraph it tells us to teach our children diligently, the Jewish education. It says to recite the Shema when we lie down and we rise up, which teaches us to do it twice a day. It says to bind them as a sign upon your arm and frontlets between your eyes, which are the tefillin, the phylacteries. And finally it says that you should bind them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, the mezuzah that you find on Jewish doors. The second paragraph is called Vayaha im Shemoah, and it basically says that you should follow God's commandment to be rewarded, and there's a curse or punishment for not following God's ways. And finally you end with the last section that God said to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel, and they should put fringes on the corners of their garments," which gives us the tradition of the prayer shawl. And I have a separate YouTube video on the prayer shawl. And that you should not go astray, but you should follow the commandments. That is the Shema prayer. And I'll tell you one story. When I was a teenager, I went to Eastern Europe and to Israel with my Ramah youth group. And we stopped in West Berlin, and a man came to see us, and he told us a story that for years after the Holocaust, this was 1973, so it was less than 20 years after the Holocaust, he had been going to a synagogue in Germany after Sabbath services and going to the Ark and saying the Shema, 6 words. And finally, one day, somebody asked him why. He said he was a non-Jew, and he had been a guard, forced by the Nazis to be a guard at the concentration camp, one of them in the crematoria. And he heard, as Jews were dying, them saying this 6-word phrase time after time after time. And his minor way of repenting for the horror that he committed in aiding and abetting this mass murder was to say the Shema. And of course, Jews say it as the last thing they say at night when they go to sleep. The watchword of our faith, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.